Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To the Premier, the Conservative government likes to claim that all of Ontario's problems are because of the Liberals. And we in the NDP agree that after 15 years in power, the Liberals left us with hallway medicine in our hospitals, with a $15.9 billion maintenance backlog in our schools, and a massive housing crisis. But this Premier's developer-friendly policies have done nothing to address the housing crisis, which is making it nearly impossible for the average person to even rent in Ontario, let alone to afford to buy a home. Rents in Toronto rose 14.5% last year to an average of $2,315 a month. The government removed rent controls from new buildings, and as a result, tenants in my riding are now facing rent increases of $500 a month. In my riding, average rent in Harbour Plaza increased by 37.7% last year and 36.1% at the playground condos at Garrison Point. These condos are all exempt from rent controls because of this government's actions. Why is affording a place to live so difficult in this government's Ontario?
And to respond, the member for Stormont Dundas South.
Thank you, Speaker. When we took government in 2018, we inherited a huge housing crisis in this province, enabled by the Liberal government and the NDP before, who supported them all the way through. Young families, seniors, and hardworking Ontarians are desperate for housing that meets the needs, and our government priority is to put affordable housing ownership in reach of Ontario families and provide more people with the opportunities they need to live closer to where they work. And that's why in 2019 we introduced More Homes, More Choice, Ontario's Housing Supply Action Plan, to make housing more affordable by increasing the supply of full range of housing options. And our action plans put Ontario first. We cut red tape and are helping build the right type of homes in the right places, making housing more affordable and building them faster. More Homes, More Choice includes a broad range of measures to address the speed of development approvals, the mix of housing types, the cost of development, and the supply of rental and ownership housing, and other innovative ideas to increase housing supply. And in December, we asked the Housing Affordability Task Force to look and explore measures to address housing affordability.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Any supplementary question?
I don't know what province the member opposite is living in, but if he thinks he's been making housing more affordable in Ontario, he is not trying to rent something, he's not trying to buy a home in Ontario. Your housing plan bulldozes over communities, wetlands and heritage properties, but does not address the financialization of the housing market or money laundering, and it does not reduce the cost of housing. Last year, under your watch, home prices in Toronto increased 16% to $1.7 million, and by the end of the year, an average condo will be over $750,000 in Toronto. People are leaving the province because of the cost of housing. Business owners in my riding tell me that the housing costs are now Ontario's biggest competitive disadvantage. You've had 4 years to make housing affordable. Rent is out of reach and the dream of buying a home has been crushed. Will you admit that your quote-unquote affordable housing strategy has been an abject failure and that it's time to change course?
Question.
Or are you saying to the people of Ontario that the only way they are going to get the homes they can afford is if they vote you out in the next election?
Dan, I'll remind members to make their comments through the chair. To respond, order. Order. The Premier.
Through you, Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the opposition for the question. I just find it very ironic that the inaction of the Liberals and NDP for 15 years put us in this spot, and we're digging out of this spot. Rental housing and affordable home ownership are even further out of reach for hard-working Ontarians because of 15 years of doing absolutely nothing. Mr. Speaker, our government's Housing Supply Action Plan are working to increase supply and make it easier for Ontarians to find the right home for them. In 2020, Mr. Speaker, the year after the Housing Supply Action Plan was implemented, Ontario had over 81,000 housing starts, the highest level in a decade, and over 11,000 rental starts, the highest level since 1992. Mr. Speaker, and these are the trends continued last year. Ontario had over 100,000 housing starts, the highest level in 30 years since 1987, Mr. Speaker, and more than 13,000 rental starts, the highest level since 1991. We're built.
Thank you.